Quiet. What do you know? You illiterate. I married you because I felt pity. I wanted to help your situation. So it was just a favor, not like I loved you. He continued to abuse her emotionally until she became very inferior to herself. Once upon a time, in a village called Pata, there lived a boy named Ike. Just like his name, meaning a strong man, he was indeed a very strong and hardworking young boy. He was the youngest carpenter in the whole of Pata, and he made beautiful furnitures and the best in the village. He was known all through Pata and beyond for his beautiful and unique craft. People admired his skills. He was just a young boy of 20 years, but no one could make better furnitures than him. This made him so special in Pata. He was more like their village celebrity, known by everyone as Ike the young carpenter. Ike started making furnitures at the age of 4. His father, Mr. Okoro, was also a carpenter who had retired from furniture making. Ike's father and mother had a very big shop where they sold all manner of foodstuffs, ranging from rice, beans, oats, and much more. They were really comfortable as a family. They had a beautiful house in the village, which Ike's father had built when he was a lot younger. All the kids had their own room in the house. There were 3 girls and a boy, which is Ike. Ike made all the furnitures in his room and eventually changed the ones in the entire house. His friends always liked coming to his apartment because of how beautifully he made his small room looked, with all the unique furnitures he handcrafted by himself to beautify it. They would play games and laugh together in his room whenever he was free. He had a different picture of furniture making. He dreamt of going to the city to make it big with furniture making. He was the girl's guy. So many ladies in the village crushed on him, and this made him a little proud. He felt he could get any girl he wanted in the village. His mother, Mama Ike, like the villagers calls her, wasn't really a friendly person. She always kept to herself and was always with her husband at the shop. Papa Ike would go to the shop first, clean it up, arrange the goods, and then open up for the day's business, while Mama Ike would take care of the kids, prepare food, send the kids to school, and join her husband at the shop with his food for the day. Near Pata was a neighboring village called Ikuku. Ikuku was a very peaceful and loving village, the smallest among its neighbors. It was also the poorest among the others. The people of Pata and the people of Ikuku were the closest among others. They got married to each other. The majority of their businesses were done in Pata because Pata had more population than all the villages around it. And many of the people of Ikuku schooled in Pata because Pata had better schools than Ikuku. The people of Ikuku would trek long distances just to go to school at Pata. Among the students was a beautiful girl named Tima. Tima was the only child of Mr. and Mrs. Ake. Mr. and Mrs. Ake were poor old farmers who struggled to feed. While Tima was just in class 2 in high school, her mother died. Life became very tough for her. Paying her fees was a struggle. Her old father was always very sickly. He had struggled so much as a young man, and because no proper care was given, it affected his old age. Her mother was the one taking care of the house. When she passed on, life became tough for Tima and her old sick father. Tima wasn't really a sound student. She was more of a business person than school. She had unique and good business ideas, but there was no money to fund her ideas. When Tima was younger, her mom would force her to go to school, but she always told her mom that she wanted to be a businesswoman rather than go to school. Your mates are going to school. Can't you see all these classy career women? Don't you want to be like them? Mom, I can be a businesswoman and still be classy. I don't have to go to school to be classy. When you do business as a graduate, it's different from someone who does the same business without going to school because you have a better picture, an idea of what you're doing. You've been exposed to things that the person did not know, her mom would always say to her. One afternoon, as Tima was returning from school, walking back to her village, she met Ike, who smiled at her with a warm smile and greeted her. How are you? He asked. I'm fine, she responded. My name is Ike, and I'm the best furniture maker in this region, both in Pata and outside Pata, he said, proud of himself. She smiled. That's good for you, and walked away. Ike was surprised. Did she just give that blow on my face? He asked himself. Who is this girl? Ike couldn't sleep that night. No woman had ever walked out on him before. Who is this girl that didn't even care about me being the best furniture maker? Like she wasn't even concerned. And to make matters worse, she walked away. Chai, me, Ike. The next day, around the same time, Ike stood beside a tree, waiting for Tima to pass by. He knew it was almost time for closing, so he went. After about 2 hours of waiting, he saw her coming. He approached her and this time he was polite. How was school today? She answered fine. I'm sorry I started on a wrong note yesterday. It's okay. It's just that the introduction of you being the best furniture maker wasn't really necessary. How can you see someone after a stressful day at school and then you're giving me unnecessary introduction? Oh, that was why you walked away. I'm so sorry. It's okay. That's all in the past now. I was just tired. I wanted to go home and rest. I didn't want all of that introduction. I'm Tima from Ikuku village, but I go to school here in Pata, she said. Oh, really? I'm Ike from Pata. I'm a furniture maker, like you know already. They both laughed. After that day, they became friends and saw each other often. Ike would wait for her at their usual spots and walk her to the boundary between Pata and Ikuku. This he did often. Ike had been waiting for admission into the university for a while. Unlike Tima, who didn't like school, Ike liked school and dreamed of establishing a furniture company when he is done with school. Tima had to stop school when her father could no longer walk. He was very sick and Tima needed to take care of him, so she had to stop school. When Ike didn't see her for a while, he went to Ikuku to look for her. He asked around, describing her, and he was able to find her. When he saw her taking care of her sick father, he knew there was no way she would have left the poor old sick man alone. Ike gained admission into the university to study architecture, but Tima stopped at class 2 in high school. Ike graduated after 4 years. He worked in a bank for 2 years and started his own furniture company, just like he had always wanted. Mr. Ake, Tima's father, fought for his life for 3 years and gave up the ghost. He slept and didn't wake up, so he died peacefully. Tima was left alone and struggled to survive. She didn't have anyone to help her. She didn't have anyone to take her to the city, unlike Ike, who was already in the city working. After 1 year of establishing his company, Ike decided to return to Pata to pick a wife. When he got to Pata, he remembered Tima, so he paid her a visit and discovered that she wasn't married yet. They spent the whole day talking about old times and enjoying memories. Then Ike said in his heart, I came to this village to get a wife. Tima is a good girl and she's still single. Marrying her wouldn't be a bad idea. While he was still reminiscing, Tima said, why are you quiet all of a sudden? It's nothing. I just remembered something. It's nothing to worry about, okay? He said. I want to ask you a personal question. I hope you don't mind, he asked. Sure, go ahead, Tima responded. Do you have a boyfriend? Boyfriend ke. I'm a poor orphan who's trying to make ends meet, so boyfriend is the last thing on my mind right now. Will you marry me if I ask for your hand in marriage? Tima laughed uncontrollably in such a manner that surprised Ike. What? What's funny? Ike asked. After graduating from the university, you own your own company. After seeing all the beautiful and classy ladies in the city, and also here in Pata, is it me, poor, illiterate, and unkept Sima like me? Please stop deceiving yourself. I'm nowhere close to you, so please just let it go. Okay, I'll let it slide for now, Ike responded. That night, when Ike got home, he told his mother that he had found a wife and she's from Ikuku village. She's someone I have known for a very long time. She's a good woman, humble and respectful. I will marry her, he said. If you say she is all of that and you want to marry her, then you have my blessings, his mom responded. After 6 months, Ike married Tima in a beautiful wedding celebration. Tima was happy and they were both happy. Ike took Tima, his wife, to the city with him. After 1 year, they welcomed their first child. She was a cute little princess. They named her Chioma. They were both happy to be parents. They treated their little princess with all the love they could give her. 2 years later, they welcomed another baby girl and they named her Amaka. She was as cute as Chioma. They almost looked like twins. Ike's family wasn't really happy about Tima having another girl. They wanted a male child. One day, Tima said to Ike, I don't want to sit at home. I want to start a business. I don't even have good clothes. Though I am married in the city, but I still dress like I live in the village. You won't work, no business. And as for clothes, I like you the way you are. If you're tired of your hair, go and cut it. Really? Is this what you have to say? You put on good clothes and shoes, but ever since you brought me to the city, you've not bought any new clothes or shoes for me. Ike looked down on Tima. He saw her as the village woman, and after giving birth to two beautiful kids, he saw no value in her. He was proud. He felt he had arrived. He would take decisions without letting her know. Sometimes he would come back home very late, and when she said a word, he would beat her up. Tima would cry. If a village man had married me, I would have been happier. At least he's in the same class with me, so he won't look down on me. She would cry, remembering her parents. Who will help me? God, please help me, she would lament. Shortly after, she conceived again and gave birth to another beautiful girl. And this time, she became irritating to Ike and his family, as though it was her fault that she gave birth to only women. Ike's family, especially his sisters, humiliated her, calling her daughters names, saying they have no place in their family. Sometimes they will come to Ike's house and beat her up. When Ike returned, he didn't say a word, so she continued to suffer. She didn't have a relative to fight for her, and she could not return to the village with all her kids. Where will I start from? I don't have anyone in the village. It's not like we have a good house in the village. Who will help me? God, please help me, she cried. Because Ike and his family knew she didn't have anyone, so they continued to maltreat her. But Ike's father never supported their evil. He always cautioned his wife and daughters about their behavior. Leave him alone to take care of his family. But they refused to listen. You have daughters, and they will reap whatever you're sowing. And for your foolish daughters that are supporting you, I pity them because their end will be destructive. They never cared about their father's words. They said, that poor and wretched girl is wasting our brother's money giving birth to girls. Our brother doesn't have a son to carry on his legacy. God will give them a male child. Just let them be and face your marriage. Remember your women too, and you will reap what you're sowing now. Tima suffered and regretted ever agreeing to marry Ike. Many nights she slept alone as Ike refused to return home. Ike failed in so many things, especially business, because he refused to listen to his wife. He felt she was an illiterate, someone who stopped at class 2. What can she possibly offer, he would say. One day, Tima said to Ike, I know I didn't finish school, but I have always been a business person, and you know it. It's a natural gift, and it pains me that you won't let me do what I love doing. Not because you don't have the money, but you just want to keep me at home. Yet you don't take care of me and the kids enough. Keep quiet. What do you know, you illiterate? I married you because I felt pity. I wanted to help your situation. So it was just a favor, not like I loved you. Tima cried out. He continued to abuse her emotionally until she became very inferior to herself. God, why did you allow me to marry this man? I would have remained in the village. My life was better and quiet. When I was in the village, she kept crying. One evening, she heard a knock on the door, and as she opened, it was her husband's younger sister. This was the beginning of another trouble for Tima. She was helpless, no one to run to in the village, and no relatives in the city. Poor Tima was confused as to what to do. What would you do if you were in Tima's shoes? Remain because of the kids or leave? What is your take on Ike's behavior? Was it that Tima wasn't sensitive enough to see the red flags? To be continued. See you in the next episode. Bye for now.